how do you stay motivated now and even before everything that's been happening?
Well, what's interesting is the life that I sort of lead is involved with a lot of projects, and so a lot of these are self-motivated projects.
Right.
So a lot of what we have done in the past hasn't really been altered too much by what's going on with the pandemic. We've been able to continue on with some. The planning for future events is what has really hit some of our projects hard. But by and large, we've been continuing on trying to make as much impact as we can. I've been sewing face masks
I've
for our
seen.
DAR sisters,
Right.
and I've been doing a lot more artwork. So that
Uh-huh.
has changed a little bit. So the house has lots of projects going on within it, and I have two teenage daughters, so that makes life very interesting.
Right. I need to talk to you about getting a mug later.
Oh, okay.
I love that idea. Okay, how or what time of day are you most efficient, and how do you schedule out for that time of day?
You know, it's interesting. So I'm a late night person. I like working in the quiet of the night, even though the world is pretty quiet right now. Anyway,
Hmm.
during the day, I've always been one that likes to stay up a little later
Hmm.
and sleep in a little more. So I've been able to do that a lot more
Right.
since our timetable for work has been more self motivated.
I love that. And you are the first person to say late at night. That you
Oh,
like to stay.
really?
Yes, you are. Everyone else said I have to get up early.
Oh yeah, you know what? It's been interesting, even in college and post Miss America. Of course, you know, having done some morning news and some
Hmm.
projects where you had to get and be at work at 3 a.m. I found that I actually transitioned better into a later night work schedule for me, especially after that.
Right.
So I do. I love the quiet of the night. The phone rings less, emails come in less,
Hmm.
and so there's less distraction.
Right. Yeah, you in the morning news. That would not work out too well, Heather.
No.
What is the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Well, I think that many years ago, when I was still competing for Miss America, I had a friend who actually told me, he said, you know, you're going to get a lot of advice. Make sure that you listen. You can take that advice. It may not always be usable advice for you. And
Right.
some of it may just need to be put on the shelf and pulled out at a different time. So I think that that's a pretty great piece of advice, and I've told that to my daughters too, because you know there's a lot to learn from people around you, and people always have advice. I'll never
Hmm.
forget when I was pregnant, everyone seemed to have advice, certainly for
That
that.
was
But
before
it is
social
true,
media, right?
people, yeah, people are very well intentioned, and I think that it's great to be able to learn how to receive that. And people
Hmm.
don't always receive advice very well. So I think I've learned how to do that. I've learned how to receive criticism, which is great.
Hmm.
Sometimes it stings. Sometimes, you know, you're a little astonished. But I think that if it's done well intentioned and in good spirit, I think there's always something to be learned. So being able to receive advice has probably been one of my best pieces of advice that I've received.
Right. I like how that all turned around there.
Yeah.
What are you working on right now for your personal development?
Oh wow, personal development. I think everything in life is personal development.
Hmm.
I think what we do in work is personal development. What we do, with others is personal development. I myself, if I were to really sort of self isolate that to just be something that's personal to me, is
Hmm.
getting back into doing more artwork.
Right.
Of course, I have a Bachelor of Science and a Master's in Fashion Design. I have my own line of clothing for a long time. I have an online store. And it's been many years since I've actually sat down with watercolor paper, and gone to work. And I have found throughout this pandemic that it's created this space and time for me to really get back into
Hmm.
that, and finding that people are really receiving my artwork very well. And it's something that I never really thought I'd get back into, even commercially. But I guess it's been very therapeutic for me throughout this pandemic and all the changes that have been going on to get back to doing some artwork.
What I love is your wide range of how versatile you are. You can be in politics one second and the next second you're drawing. I love how you embrace every part of you and what your talents are.
Well, I do think that resiliency is probably one of the key words that I've always used. And, life is ever changing. And one moment, you're going to be in a different sphere and another. And I found that really after Miss America, I was really given all of these amazing opportunities,
Mhm.
and they were very wide and diverse in their scope. And so it's been a wonderful journey. sometimes a little chaotic because some of those are, one end of the spectrum to the next. And I do find that being resilient through all the changes that we go through in time has been something that I have been very accustomed to.
Finally, what would you tell your younger self?
I think I could write a book on what I would tell my younger self. I think that focus. So early on, there are, again, a lot of opportunities that come to you at different periods in life. And those of us who were fortunate to win that national title are afforded a lot of opportunities. But I think that focus would be something that I would certainly really pound into my younger self. While, again, I just said I love a variety of projects, there's some that I felt like maybe I needed a little more focus on that could have had a longer duration. And then there are some that I felt like maybe I could have done better without, and it took me off a particular path towards something that could have been even more impactful in my life. So if I could tell anything to anybody, one of my great business mentors, that's what he always told me. He said, focus. It's the most important word as a business person that you can use. So focus.